The last time your cat slow blinked at you, they were saying something. Not a greeting, not a reflex. A full, deliberate sentence. And you probably smiled back without knowing what you actually just agreed to. Most people think it just means, I'm relaxed. That's the surface answer, the one that's been shared 1,000 times. But the 2020 study that finally tested this properly found something far more specific happening inside your cat's brain in that exact moment. Something that reframes every slow blink you've ever exchanged. And the moment you understand what they were actually saying, you're going to want to say it back, correctly, because there's a right way to do it, and most owners are getting it slightly wrong. Part 1. The biology. What is actually happening in that moment? Before we talk about what the slow blink means, we need to talk about what it costs. In the wild, and in the domestic cat's still active threat assessment system, sustained eye contact is not neutral. It is the posture of predatory evaluation. When two cats hold eye contact, both are running an assessment. How dangerous is this animal, and what should I do about it? Breaking eye contact is the resolution of that assessment. It says, I have completed my evaluation. You are not a threat. But a slow blink goes further than simply looking away. A slow blink requires deliberate closure of the eyes, a complete, temporary surrender of visual access to the environment. For an animal whose survival historically depended on continuous environmental monitoring, closing the eyes in the presence of another creature is not a casual act. It is a calculated risk, a chosen vulnerability. The neurological cost of a slow blink is real. For the duration of that eye closure, a second, perhaps two, your cat's visual threat detection is offline. They have chosen to be briefly blind in your presence. That is not relaxation. That is trust made physical. The cat is not closing their eyes because they feel safe enough to rest. They are closing their eyes because they feel safe enough to stop watching for threats. Specifically, because you are there. The slow blink is the cat's nervous system saying, around this individual, the threat monitoring system can stand down. Not because there are no threats, because this person registers as the opposite of a threat. Because this person registers as safe. Part 2. The 2020 study. What they actually tested and found. Before 2020, the slow blink was widely discussed in cat behavior content but never rigorously tested. The assumption that it indicated relaxation or contentment was based on observation and inference, not experimental design. The University of Sussex study, published in Scientific Reports in 2020, did something no previous study had done. It tested whether the slow blink was a communicative signal, specifically whether it was directional, whether it was responsive to human behavior, and whether it had measurable effects on cat social behavior. The study had two parts. In the first part, owners slow blinked at their cats in a controlled setting. The cats slow blinked back significantly more often when the owner initiated the slow blink than in a control condition with no human eye interaction. This established directionality. The slow blink is not just a state the cat enters, it is a signal they respond to. In the second part, a researcher unfamiliar to the cats either slow blinked at them or maintained a neutral expression. The cats were significantly more likely to approach the researcher who had slow blinked, and to slow blink in return, than the researcher who had not. This was the finding that changed things. The slow blink was not just a bond expression between animals who already trusted each other, it was a trust initiation signal. A stranger could use it to change how a cat perceived them within a single interaction. What the researchers concluded was that the slow blink functions as a positive emotional communication, a signal that, when offered, reduces threat perception and increases approach behavior. Not just between bonded individuals, between any human and cat, if the signal is offered correctly. Your cat is not just expressing that they feel comfortable with you. They are extending an invitation, a social signal that says, I am lowering my threat response. You may do the same. And when you slow blink back, you are accepting the invitation. The question is whether you're accepting it in a language your cat fully recognizes. Part 3. What they are actually saying. The translation. Here is the translation, as specific as we can make it given what the research establishes. When your cat slow blinks at you, the message is not, I am relaxed. That is the symptom, not the sentence. The message is closer to this. I have evaluated you. I have run my threat assessment. I have concluded that you do not require monitoring. In your presence, I am choosing to lower my guard. This is not an accident. This is a choice I am making about you specifically. There is a version of this that goes further. In cats who slow blink frequently, unprompted, across the room, with sustained eye contact before and after the blink. In these cats, the behavior carries an additional register. Researchers describe this as affiliative communication, social bonding behavior directed specifically at a chosen individual. The cat is not just lowering their threat response, they are actively reaching across the space between you and doing something that has no survival function. Something that only makes sense if the relationship itself has value. They are, in the most precise translation available, saying, you are someone I have decided to trust, and I want you to know that I have decided this. Not all slow blinks are identical. A cat who blinks once and looks away has completed a threat assessment. A cat who holds your gaze, blinks slowly, and then continues to look at you, that cat is doing something more deliberate, more communicative, more chosen. The intensity of the signal correlates with the deliberateness of the gaze before and after. A slow blink surrounded by full, soft, deliberate eye contact is the fullest expression of this sentence. A quick blink mid-look is the shortened version. Both matter. The distinction tells you how much of the sentence they were delivering. Part 4. How to slow blink back. The technique most people get wrong. Here is where most owners make the mistake. They receive the slow blink, they feel the warmth of it, they smile, which involves a rapid series of facial movements that, in feline social perception, reads as high energy and potentially alarming. And they blink back quickly, enthusiastically, in the way humans blink when they are trying to communicate something. And the cat looks at them, processes the signal, and responds to approximately 40% of what was intended. The correct slow blink, the one your cat will recognize as fluent, has 4 specific components. First, soft eyes before the blink. Not wide, not intense. Let your gaze relax. Slightly squinted, low energy. In feline body language, soft eyes signal non-threat before the blink itself begins. This is the preamble. Second, a genuine slow closure. This should take approximately 1 full second. Not a regular blink, not a flutter. A deliberate, unhurried descent of the eyelids. If you're doing it at your natural blink speed, you're going too fast. Third, a brief hold at closed or nearly closed. 1 to 2 seconds of eyes closed or softly shut. This is the moment of chosen vulnerability, the part that carries the most meaning. Cutting this short reduces the signal significantly. Fourth, a slow reopening with soft eyes returning. Not a sudden snap open. A gradual return to a soft, low-energy gaze. And then, crucially, look slightly away or drop your gaze downward. Do not hold sustained eye contact immediately after. The slow blink is a de-escalation signal. Returning to direct stare immediately after cancels part of the message. The entire sequence should feel, from the outside, like someone falling asleep very slowly and waking up again. Unhurried, deliberate, completely unrushed. And then, wait. Give your cat 3 to 5 seconds to process and respond. The response, when it comes, will be unmistakable. A slow blink in return, a soft look away, an approach, or a body posture shift toward relaxation. The cats in the Sussex study responded to the correctly delivered slow blink from strangers within seconds. If your cat is not responding, the most likely reason is pacing. The blink is too fast, or the return to eye contact is too abrupt. Slow everything down by 30% and try again. Part 5. When they blink at you from across the room. There is a specific variant of this behavior that deserves its own attention. The unsolicited slow blink, the one your cat sends you from across the room without you having initiated anything in the middle of an ordinary moment. You are reading, working, doing something that has nothing to do with your cat, and you happen to look up and your cat is already looking at you from the couch or the windowsill or the doorway, and they slow blink. Unprompted, unprovoked. Just a sentence sent across the room. This is the most deliberate form of the behavior. Your cat did not blink because you gave them something to respond to. They blinked because they wanted to say something. What they were saying is not complicated. It is, in the most straightforward translation available, I see you. You are mine. I am choosing to tell you that right now, for no reason other than that it is true. There is no survival benefit to this. There is no transactional element. There is nothing they need from you in that moment that the slow blink would produce. It is an expression of something for which cats are not supposed to have the neurological architecture. And yet, think about the last time your cat slow blinked at you from across the room. Maybe you were at your desk, maybe you were on the couch. Maybe you were having a hard day and you looked up and your cat was just there, looking at you. And then their eyes closed slowly and opened again, and they kept looking. You probably smiled. Maybe you blinked back in whatever approximate way felt right. And what you were doing in that moment, in that exchange you had no translation for, was a conversation. Your cat had run their full threat assessment protocol, had concluded that you did not require monitoring, had chosen, deliberately, to lower their guard in your presence. And then, unprompted, across a room, in the middle of an ordinary afternoon, had decided that you should know this. They looked at you. They said, I see you. You are safe. You are mine. And you said it back. Imperfectly, probably, a little too fast, a little too human. But they read the intention behind it. They understood what you were trying to say. That is what was happening, every time. In every quiet moment when your cat looked at you and closed their eyes slowly and you felt something you couldn't name. You were speaking to each other, in a language you didn't know you were learning. And now you know what you were saying. Tag someone who has ever been slow blinked at by a cat, anyone who has felt that specific warmth and never had words for it. Tell them what it meant. Tell them what they said back. If this changed how you'll receive the next slow blink, hit subscribe. Every week we go deeper into the language your cat has been speaking your whole life together, and what you've been saying back without knowing it. Next week, why your cat brings you things. Dead animals, toys, socks, pieces of paper, and what the emotion behind that behavior actually is, because it is not what most people assume. And it is going to make you see one of the most misunderstood behaviors in cat ownership completely differently. Practice the slow blink today. Go find your cat. Soft eyes, slow closure, brief hold, soft reopening, look slightly away. Give them 3 to 5 seconds. And drop a comment below. Did they blink back? How long did it take? I want to know what happens when you try it with the real technique, because I think you're going to be surprised.